Right now, the tennis world is trying to process a decision nobody wanted to hear. The number one player on the planet just pulled out of the last Grand Slam of the year, and this time, it's not a shock, it's a slow-motion heartbreak we all saw coming. Jannik Sinner will not be playing at the US Open. If you've been following his season, you already know the warning signs were there. This isn't a sudden injury that came out of nowhere. It's the continuation of a story that's been unfolding for weeks, one tournament at a time, one withdrawal after another. Let's rewind for a second, because the timeline here really matters. Sinner's last competitive match was at Wimbledon, where he successfully defended his title on the grass. Since that moment, he hasn't stepped onto a match court. Not in Montreal, not in Cincinnati. 2 Masters 1000 events, both skipped, both because of the same lingering issue, his right knee. 4 weeks. Fans held on to hope that Cincinnati was just precautionary, that he'd be back sharp and ready by the time New York rolled around. The US Open has always felt like personal territory for him. It's the stage where, last year, he went toe-to-toe with Carlos Alcaraz in a 4-set final that pushed both players to their limits. Everyone expected a rematch. Everyone wanted to see if Sinner could finally get revenge on that hard court. Instead, we got a statement. According to Italian outlet Gazzetta dello Sport, Sinner and his team spent the days leading up to this announcement in close consultation with doctors, running through examination after examination, trying to figure out if there was any version of this where he could compete safely. They weren't rushing the call. They were exhausting every option first. And then, finally, the decision came, straight from Sinner himself, posted for the world to see. He explained that despite putting in serious work with his coaching staff and medical team, the outcome couldn't be changed. He said he simply won't be able to compete in New York this year. He described returning to practice courts in Monte Carlo over the past several days, hoping that time on court would tell a different story. Instead, it confirmed what everyone feared: his knee still isn't ready. He needs more time to heal. What struck a lot of people about his statement wasn't the medical explanation. It was the emotion behind it. He didn't try to hide how much this hurts. He talked about New York holding a special place in his heart, about how much he'd been looking forward to walking back into that stadium, playing in front of a crowd that's known for turning up the volume like nowhere else on tour. That electric, chaotic, unapologetically loud New York energy. He said he couldn't wait to feel it again. And now he won't get the chance, at least not this year. For an athlete who's spent the past 2 seasons dominating headlines, this kind of vulnerability lands differently. Sinner has built a reputation as one of the most composed, almost machine-like competitors on tour. Watching him openly admit disappointment, admit sadness, admit that his body simply isn't cooperating, it's a reminder that even the very best are still human, still fighting battles that have nothing to do with talent or preparation. So what does this actually mean for the tournament? It blows the men's draw wide open. With the top-ranked player out of the picture, the pressure and opportunity shift dramatically for everyone left standing. And here's where the story gets even more interesting. Because Carlos Alcaraz, the man who beat Sinner in that unforgettable final 12 months ago, has confirmed he's still in. He's coming back to defend his run, even after dealing with his own lengthy injury layoff. Alcaraz was sidelined for more than 4 months with a wrist problem, and now he's stepping back onto the biggest stage in tennis without the rival who pushed him hardest last year standing across the net. Think about that for a second. 2 of the sport's brightest stars, both battling their bodies throughout this season, and only one of them is walking into Flushing Meadows fully healthy. It changes everything about how this tournament plays out. The seedings, the favorites, the storylines broadcasters and analysts will be chasing for the next 2 weeks. For Sinner, though, the bigger picture matters more than any single tournament. Knee injuries, especially for a player whose entire game is built around explosive movement, quick direction changes, and grinding out long rallies, aren't something you rush back from. Push too early, and you risk turning a short-term absence into a long-term problem. His team clearly made the calculated choice to protect his career over chasing one more trophy, and given how young he still is and how much tennis he presumably has left in him, that's probably the right call, even if it's a painful one in the moment. There's also a broader conversation happening here about the toll the modern tennis calendar takes on top players. Back-to-back Masters events, a Grand Slam looming right after, minimal recovery windows. It's a brutal stretch that's forced multiple contenders this season to make the same tough choice Sinner just made. Rest or risk it all? For now, all eyes shift to how Sinner responds. Will this be a short recovery window, with a return in time for the fall indoor swing? Or is this the beginning of a longer, more cautious process, one designed to make sure he's fully healed before pushing his body again? His team hasn't given a firm timeline, and honestly, that's probably intentional. Injuries like this don't follow neat schedules, and putting a date on it only creates pressure that could backfire. What we do know is this. The US Open field just lost its biggest name, the defending runner-up is stepping back into the spotlight without his fiercest rival, and the entire tennis world is left waiting to see how and when Jannik Sinner makes his return. One thing's for certain. When he does come back, everyone will be watching closely, wondering if the knee holds up, wondering if the fire that's carried him to the top of the rankings is still burning just as strong. Until then, New York will have to wait for him one more year.